Hello, IK here. Welcome to Authentication and Authorization Part 5. Here is a login, and this is only visible component in user interface where we give our data, email and password, and the dispatch function dispatch it to Redux. Let's see that path from login to server. Here it is. Here it is login.js. Here is dispatch. Dispatch. What we dispatch? We dispatch in parameter of dispatch is a login user. It is tank, and the parameter of login user is email and password. Okay. Dispatch to file of reducer. Reducer is part of store. Store is part of Redux. Now, from login, we dispatch to reducer. We dispatch this tank function to file login slice. Login slice is reducer for login state. Okay, let's see now login slice. Look at here, email, password. But in login slice, here it is. We have that tank. Here it is, a login user. And this create asynchron tank, what coming with reducer toolkit. And in parameter of that is all about what have to do. What is important to do is contact server, Express web application coded in JavaScript, rest on the Node server, and that Express application waiting that we request. And here is it is a login slice. It is a reducer. What mean that here we request. Here it is important. Request. Now look at interesting thing. What beginners can be confused. Credentials. It is variable. It is object. Inside of that object is name and password. It is all for confusing beginner. But now you know. I said you must not be confused. Name and password from login, from dispatch on a login component. Here is a credentials, one word, one object, and inside of that is, and we don't coding that translation. No, it is all in background. In background, we can does it. We can call it like we want here, and immediately react in background with in that object credentials put name and password. And look at what we call. We call Express server Express web application coded in JavaScript. And okay, let's get there. Here it is, server. Here it is, look at users login. And that root in the Express server, this is a post request. But look at now, we type email and password. We want get of that user. We want get all data from database of that user. It means name of user, role. We know email address, but we now by email address want to find in user, does user existed, and if existed, we compare a password to verify does it password is for verification, for authentication. And after that, if all is okay, if password is okay, we get not post, we get that user to manipulate with it. But here is a post, not get, even though you have here select, it is about get. Select, it is SQL query. We not insert here. Post means that we put, that we insert in SQL, it would be insert name and password, for example, in a new row in table. But no, we want get. But why here it is not get? Because get request data transfer by address, URL, unique address, address in a browser, would be all data, would be name and password visible, public visible, and of course it is not. It is not what we want. Because of that, we use post, and here post and post get always go to web address and is visible, and the post request always is invisible, coming here in server. And what coming? Coming in request. Request, there is two objects, request object and response object in this arrow function. And of course, this parameter, first parameter, is address for communication with the front end. We are now in backend, in server, and front end is React and Redux. And from React, it is login. We dispatch a name and username to tank, a name and password to tank, to Redux, and Redux contact here backend Express. And here address is okay. A request object, in request object is name, email, and password. And response object is object what return back and take data back to Redux, to front end. Okay, request, response, and in body of that arrow function, we declare object with the two properties, email and password. Here it is. We take it from request body. From request body, request object, there is a properties body, and we take it. Here it is. Look at, no worry about changes name in credentials in, no, email and password is arrived here, and we have that in two variable, email and password. Now, when we have that, we send query. Look at now this application, Express application, send query, SQL query to database, MySQL database. It is separate protocol. It is protocol MySQL 12, for example. Here it is. And select from users where this asterisk means all. Select all from users where email. It is almost it is very native language in English, understandable if it is not coding, if it is not programming language. And here is a question mark, it is placeholder, And email, look at it, is address. It is a variable email coming instead of that question mark in second sending. First sending is empty place, and second is with concrete only data, and it is security from wrong injection. Okay, let's get right. And now it is first part, sending SQL query, but this query function send of the DB function query send, method query send this SQL query to database. And here it is first parameter. Second, in asynchronous arrow function, two parameter error, object error and the result, parameter error and the result. If would be some error, it would be here in this object, and result it is what when is all is okay, and what database in that object would be what database return to Express. Look at how many phase of this transport from React login to Redux tank to Express to MySQL. For Node, say like that, we have in that transaction. It is one direction, and response go in contrary back. Back from database go results coming to Express. Express results put in response. Response go to Redux, to tank, and tank with payload. Payload is a tank dispatch action to Redux store, to reducer, dispatch action. And the action, there is a payload and a type of action. And payload always coming from this side, from database, payload. And it is action, every action, there is a payload properties and type of action. And payload coming from here, from MySQL, from to Express, from Express to tank, from tank dispatch to Redux, and be visible all components in React, what is subscribed to that state. Concretely, it is login state in store of Redux. Okay, back here, and look at if error, developer coded error, it is excellent to code error. We must code error, because if we don't code it error, we would be blind if something happened. And now look at if error, it is if construction, and means if error, it means that if anything inside, if error is not empty, is anything inside of that error, exist error, it would be one and would be execute this in curly brackets. And if error exit, would be execute this, would be return. You look at in response, always in response. Response go to Redux, go to tank, go back to tank. Response, and in that response, developer must code the status. And in this moment, when we send select from, if error happened in from this moment sending, to moment arriving in database, that transmission and in database. And here it is what this developer, and it is concretely I am here developer, but coder is ChatGPT, and ChatGPT coded, and not only coded that I dictate, but know what to code it uh, when I only said 1, 2 words. But when I visited and control, why am I developed? Because I decided, does it a message here right or not right? Server error during database query. Excellent, excellent. Uh, uh, we are uh, below, look at this curly brackets, and this is, okay. If error happen in this process, function query, send the SQL query. If error happen, we catch that error in this and return to whom return? Return to Express. No, it is. We are now in Express. We look at in Express. Express return back to Redux to Tank, and from Tank it can be visible also in login.js. Okay, and we will see message server error during database query. Status, we must code it status. How? We have list of status, asking, we have list, find list of status possible, and we choose what status, uh, uh, because in list you will have status and status text, and we choose what status coded here, but it is, we need coded status because it is information, better information. It's not enough only our text message, our text message. One times can be confused status if would be alone. Sometimes would be confused message if we didn't send include status official number for that kind of server error during database query. Okay, it is about that. If all is okay, here in this point, we have we can declare constant because in results in array level array index 0, it means first member in array, but first and last. In that response from database, we expect only one user. Cannot be two user because no user with two same password, for example, but system don't permit same email also. And it means it is always one user we find with name and password we find in database, and in results we have back, result is back from MySQL database to Express. In object results we have object user, in results is array, and one member, the first member, it is index 0, is user what we find. And that user what we find, that there is object with the name, role, etc. Name, role, ID. password also. But now, okay, we will see later what we need. But complete user, it is complete. You see asterisk up. Complete data, complete row, complete record from a table. And again, we have error, if error. We coded error. It is excellent if exclamation mark sign means not. If not user, if there is no user, return status 404. This is not found page, but here it is also not found resource, not found what we find, not found users. And here, message would be user not found, because we, like a developer, we look at in code, we created this error. If not user, user not find would be our message. And for status, we find 404 is only comparative with this situation, no user. Compare the password. Here, in try catch structure, we catch error if exist. We declare is match object. Name said what would it is here. It is equal await. Bcrypt to compare. It is compare is function of bcrypt, method of bcrypt, and that method compare password what we type in login with user password. User is user password. User is our variable. We find user and user exists, and look at now we user password compare with our password. And now we must ask yourself, in a database, user password is hashed in one long string. I will register one user. Name is name is Bean. Email is bean.com. Password is Bean. And the role is customer role. Okay, can be admin. Save. Okay, now look at in database, refresh, Bean. Here it is. Look at what happened with password. This is password. Okay, this is password. Now, this kind of password is in table. Now, I jump here. Now I will log in. It is a hash encryption in one direction. In one direction cannot be, we cannot decoded, hash coded item in this situation password. One direction. And now in login, I type email bean.com and password bean and login. Welcome to Dash log out. Here is a welcome bean. Okay. How now where we are? Yes, here it is. Now compare. How compare password bean, what I type in password bean, and that long hashed password. User password is long hashed, and our password is bean. Here is one long string. And how compare that? Compare that bcrypt hashed bean. It is bcrypt hashed bean, and it would be hashed bean. It means same as existing hashed bean. And comparison, if comparison is not match, again error. Return response object who take all that what we put in, and turn back to Redux to tank. Status, again, we code it status 401. You can see list of number and see that that status is correct. And in JSON form, we send a message, send object with properties only message, invalid credentials. Invalid credentials. Concretely, okay, invalid credentials, but in credentials is not only password, but also email. And we don't set user not good password. Both user don't know what is not good, email or password, but try again. Okay, here it's now, until this moment, we have a user. We have a user. We use that user here in compare, take password from that. But now, and matching is okay, we generate Java Web token, just JavaScript token, web token. Here it is, a token. Function generate token. And parameter user. It means that this user would be in token. This user, we have user, and it is all would be in token. That function generate token would put a user in token. And we can go now to see. This is in my experiment. I use console. Look at generate token is here in Express outside of our post root. Here it is, generate token equal arrow function. Parameter is user. You see, we take that user from root. And here in body of arrow function, we declare secret key. And secret key is this process env JavaScript web token secret. Here it is. And we find that secret key here in env. Here it is, .env. Here it is, JWT secret. I type random letters, random key on the keyboard. Okay, it is, look at it is JavaScript web token secret. It is env on server. And now back to server. And after finding secret and find it, we return JavaScript web token dot sign. Sign is encrypt all together. You see, user ID, user ID, email, user email, role, user role, name, user role. It means that we take user ID, email, role, and name. We don't take a password. Password must not be visible, never. And we don't need password. Password play what have to play. And here it is secret key. Look at it is object, sign, and parameter of that function sign, JWT object, there is a method sign, and parameter is object with user's data, secret key, yes, here it is a role, a comma here, secret key, and third object is expires in 1 hour. 1 hour will be time what that token would be valid, would be valid. After that 1 hour, there is no token or not valid. Not valid. What it means, you see, when our function for validation open token and find expires, if see that 1 hour is expire, that token is not valid. Okay, you see, generate token, very simple. This secret key is something excellent. What it means, token with the secret key and user data and expires would be one number. After sign is, it all would be one very, very long string. And crypt in a long, long string. And when we again, when we refresh or after switch on, switch off browser, and when we look at in a token, we open token and the data from token, what we need about user, we put in Redux. We will see that later. But what is interesting, it is front-end validation when token is in a local store. But when validation happen in backend, how it function? Token would be sent to backend, would be open, and would be decoded secret key. And that decoded secret key, but not decoded, but when we open decoded token, that long string, when we decode it, we see secret key inside of that. And that secret key we compare with the existing secret key here in secret key. Again, token now, when would be created, configured, and crypto one token, we store that in local store. And it means that we would be logging during switch off, switch on browser or refresh. Uh, but every switch on, switch off, switch on browser, it means we must validate. And we validate, take from local store, uh, decoded the token and find a username, put it, what we need, put in Redux, in store, and we see expires, but we cannot see in front end, cannot see secret key. Because of that, can be validation like that token go automatically on the server, and the server decode it, secret key inside compared with secret key on the server here in Anvil. And because of that, we don't need the ID session, ID session used. I usually in page PHP, when I code it, we have a session, and and now we have also uh, session ID on the server side, and we can use that ID on the server side. And but now nothing in the server, but this key like part of our Express here in Enve, but it is inside of our application. It is not on the somewhere on the Node server, but in our application. And our application, uh, we don't need loaded anything on the server. Uh, we have a secret key here in expression, and it is backend. It is our backend, and token would be sent to server, decoded, secret key would compare with the existing secret key in Enver, and it would be the best validation. Then validate only in front, in front, in front end. Okay, now we created token. We can go here. We spoke about query. We spoke about user. We are now here user 0. If no user, compare. It is all about compare, is match. It is compare control password. Generate token we see user, and with user together go in token expire and secret key. And here is a response token if all app is okay. In response would be JSON in JSON object parameter, JSON formatted. JSON in parameter of JSON is object message and token, two properties, message and token. And message is login successful, and the token. This is a token. It is go back in response, and it is now without error, not error. But again, if would be error in this try catch, would be status 500, and would be message server error during password comparison. It is not same as credentials. Credentials. So here is if error invalid credentials. Invalid credentials, because invalid credentials is here directly in compare. But here, this response is for developer, because it is here, and thinking in compare. It means that password is not good. But here must be something on the server after SQL query would be sent. After SQL query would be sent. Because here is a server error during database query, and now this try catch is server error during password comparison. Okay. Up is during SQL query. Here is password comparison. And message error message, not credentials. It means compare is make, and we know not credentials, not same password, but some other error can be happen during comparison in that period. Server, some server error in moment when comparison begin launching. In that moment happened some error with server. It is server happened during comparison of password comparison. Okay, and now in response, where is the response? Here it is. In response, if all is okay, we have a message and the token, and path to back I put in the next video. For this video, it is enough, and we said a lot of about authentication and authorization, but there is so in front of us. Thank you for watching this video.